Hi, and welcome to episode 15 of Creative Dynamos. Tonight I am here with author Damon Thompson. Damon and I ran into each other at Big Lit Comic Con. If you've been watching my channel at all, you'll have seen interviews with other authors that I met at Big Lick. One of the things that I love about going to Comic Cons and other kinds of events like that is the opportunity to meet other creative people. And I didn't really get a chance to sit down and talk with Damon because there were just so many people. I didn't have time to meet with them all. But I saw Damon, I saw your covers and I
Yeah.
saw the titles, and the combination of superheroes and spirituality really spoke to me. Before we get to talking about your books, though, tell me a little bit about yourself. How long have you been writing and what got you started on that journey?
First of all, thank you for having me, Scott. And it was nice meeting you at the Big Lit Comic Con. Just
Absolutely.
how I got started, I guess writing called me at an early age. I would say adolescent years, I noticed I was developing introvert personalities, wanting to create on my own, wanting that alone time. So maybe that was the beginning of the creative process. But as I got older, I started to be more aligned with the hip hop culture, writing music, poetry, and that eventually evolved into writing books. Yep.
Yeah, I saw when I was reading your bio, I saw that music, particularly hip
Yes.
hop, was a big part of your background. And I grew up in the 70s and 80s listening to hip hop and R&B, and I know
Hmm.
I'm a white boy, but I've got a little bit of soul, and I love one of the things I love about R&B and hip hop is the storytelling
Yeah.
that you get from the really well written stuff.
Hmm.
So I can see the through line from listening to, and did you ever write any songs or write any rap?
Yes, I had back in the days when you're familiar with cassette tapes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We used to put like tissue inside on top of the cassette tapes to dub the instrumentals and kind of rap over those instrumentals and just being a kid and creating. But yeah, we have maybe in a time capsule somewhere in Beaufort some tapes floating around there. But my brother, myself, and we had a group called the Lions Dens with a few family members, a couple of my cousins. But we just used to stay in the room and create, and it kept us out of trouble for the whole weekend.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Me and my best friend in middle school and high school, like we would make some ridiculous
yeah,
music, trying to sing over cassettes
hmm,
and do a little bit of rap. And
yeah,
yeah, they're hopefully they're buried somewhere,
right,
and will never see the light of day.
yeah,
But so the thing that really captivated me, as I mentioned, was the covers. Uh,
yeah,
that these are, in my mind, and I haven't had a chance to read your stuff yet, but in my mind, these are clearly superheroes or superhero adjacent. And in the cultural zeitgeist, this is the best time in the world to be a superhero geek.
yeah,
Am I reading that right?
yeah. You're absolutely right. I was very intentional of the cover. I wanted superheroes that represents or reflect myself, family members, my kids, just having some representation. But yeah, superheroes are plastered on all three books, and I wanted to not focus on one character because each book has different characters on the book.
Mhm.
So it's more of a collective group, and hopefully, when someone read that a book, they can pick out a character and identify and feel that connection.
That's really important. I like the fact that it's kind of an ensemble cast kind of thing,
Hmm.
where you've got enough characters that, hey, I might not want this character may not register with me, but this character
Yep.
speaks to me. I like that. So tell me a little bit about the world that you've created.
The world that I created is it's pretty much spiritual. The world didn't start really getting created until like book three, I would say.
Mhm.
But it's more of a mental game that the characters have to juggle with. Once we get to book three, we stop dipping into like the spiritual realm, the dark realm, the paths they have to choose. But I try to create a world that doesn't exist like in our reality, but our mind would try to can take us to like the spirit realm and just speak to the ancestors and get guidance. So real spiritual realm, a world that I try to develop.
Like that. Tell me about some of your characters here.
Okay. On the first book, I have a character, the main character. His name is Doc. He's the grandfather to the character that's on the first cover. He's kind of like the guru, the person that they all seek guidance from. I also have a character named Bricks. He's one of the older family members. He's a truck driver, kind of like a normal guy that just happened to discover his superhero or his superpowers or gifts from trial and tribulations.
Mhm.
I have a character Stacks. He's more like the conscious. He's a therapist at day, and he's trying to figure out his character powers as well. So all of the characters have like normal jobs,
Love that.
and they they become more aware with themselves as they go on that journey.
Did you watch the TV series Heroes?
I didn't. I think
It was on in like the
no,
early 2000s, like 2000, 2001.
no. I heard about it, but I didn't get a chance to watch it yet.
It's I think it really has that in common with what I'm hearing from you.
Hmm.
Just the part about like these people are just like normal people and
Yeah.
they have normal jobs, and then all of a sudden, for whatever
Right.
reason, they've got these abilities. And
Hmm.
I love that. What would you do if you found yourself suddenly
Right.
having these strange
Hmm.
abilities? What is the genesis of the abilities these people have? Is it like a mutant thing? Is it born out of their spirituality, a mystical kind of connection?
It's definitely one out of their spirituality. The grandfather, just the premise, I can run down the premise.
Yeah,
The grandfather actually prayed. He was brutally attacked, so he prayed to his God to be blessed, not him, but his grandchildren, his next generation, to be blessed with powers and gifts to fight back the hate and injustice of the world. So each character starts to develop those gifts and powers, unique gifts and powers, as they start to develop in the world.
I love that. I love that. I've written some stories that kind of
Hmm.
touch on the spiritual on my own spirituality, on my own spiritual journey,
Yeah.
and bringing that into stories is always
Hmm.
a very rich experience. That sounds great.
Thank you.
What inspired you to tap into that for these stories?
I wanted to, the characters, first of all, I wanted to be character driven. I wanted a lot of characters,
Mhm.
as we discussed earlier, so someone can identify with one character. But what's the question again? I'm sorry.
What inspired you to tap into the spiritual aspect
Oh
of,
yeah, it's just giving the superhero powers a different spin.
hmm,
I don't think there could be a story out there, but getting your powers from the source, I
mhm.
don't think that's spoken enough. So I just wanted to keep it simple and be as truthful as to my roots and culture as possible.
I love that. I was talking to another author recently for one
Hmm.
of these interviews, and one of the things that he said about originality was that, your idea, to make your idea original sometimes means taking an idea that may not itself be original and then
Yeah.
just pushing it beyond, just pushing it a little beyond like what's normal or what's typical. So, superheroes, normal idea, a lot of
Yeah.
superheroes out there, but what you've done is taken it into a direction that is not typical. And I love that.
Hmm.
It makes it unique, it gives you a unique voice and
Yeah.
a unique universe, and I think that's great.
Thank
Um,
you.
so you work with youth,
Yes.
and you're a therapist, if I understand correctly. Did that play a role in deciding on like the audience the audience that you wanted to appeal to for these books?
Not necessarily the audience, but definitely some storylines, some characters. Like I said, the character stacks. He's a therapist, and my professional role is MST, where I'm actually in the home with the families. I'm in the homes working with at-risk youth and the families to decrease certain behaviors. So I'm in the field, I would say, and just having that passion to help, just having that passion to see, I guess, the smallest change, someone make a change, like start going to school, or a family that's struggling with certain mental health issues, and get them the proper help. So all of that played a role in to develop certain characters or certain storylines for sure.
Love it. My wife and I, years ago, worked at a children's home, at-risk youth. It's the Baptist Children's Home in Thomasville, and
Okay, yeah.
we did that for about a year and a half, and that was a unique experience.
Yep.
And what's been great is over the last 5 or 10 years, because this was
Hmm.
literally like 20 years ago that we did this, is seeing some of those. We worked with girls and seeing
Hmm.
some of those women now as people in the community.
Yeah.
They've made, they've made careers for themselves. They've
Hmm.
started having families, and seeing them become successes
Yeah.
has been a tremendous experience.
Yeah,
And
it's definitely warm, to see someone that you've been working with may come back years from now and just kind of be like, "Hey, I graduated. Here's an invitation to my graduation." So that's like my job is done,
yes,
you know. So that's honorable.
yes. So you have kids. Are they old enough to know dad is a writer?
They are. They're 9 and 8. So they're starting this. They're along. They're like, I would say my first Comic Con event was the Triad Comic Con, Eastgate Comic Con, and they were there with me.
Oh,
So they're on this journey with me. I'm watching them grow up. They sometimes they come to the events. They dress up as the superheroes. They're with me on it. They understand, but I don't think they really grasp it yet. But
it'll
they
come.
know Dad writing some stuff.
It'll come.
Yeah.
My One of my favorite memories was when my kids started to realize that I was a writer, and
Hmm.
they were like, we want to read something that you've written. And I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
in my case, at that point, I was writing a lot of stuff that wasn't really very appropriate for kids to read. So I was like,
Hmm.
okay, now I have to write something that you guys
Yeah.
can enjoy. And
Yeah.
and might not result in therapy bills later.
Yeah.
So that's how I ended up writing my young adult science fiction series.
Nice.
So yeah, so I was reading your bio, and
Hmm.
by the way, for any authors that are out there listening to this, go read this man's bio because you need to have a bio like this. Like one of the things that some readers appreciate is
Hmm.
getting to know a little bit about the writer of this stuff that
Yeah.
they read. And you did a really good job of having like a nice, concise but thorough picture of you as a person. You and I have some things in common in terms of our
Hmm.
background. Um, we both come from like a working poor family, like blue
Hmm.
collar situation. And I know in my case, that's informed a lot of my writing and
Hmm.
my approach towards creativity. And I'm curious to know how that affected your own efforts.
Yeah, I can go as far back as my mom working at Burger King, and my brother and I would have to 5 o'clock in the morning. We would have to jump the fence to go over to my aunt's house, just to watch over us.
Mhm.
That routine of getting up that early kind of stuck with me. So now that helps me get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and write. So it's stuck with me. So
That
that's one part.
that is one way we are not alike. I cannot get up that early,
You're
but
not a morning writer?
no, I respect those that are. I find lunchtime works better for me
That's a
and
good time.
evenings, but especially now that my kids are grown and for the most
Hmm.
part out of the house, writing in the evenings is easier than it used to be.
I
Uh,
wish I could.
but you'll get there. You'll get there. But yeah, enjoy the time while they're young
Yeah.
because it passes too quickly. I know, like in my case, like
Hmm.
I remember my mom used to work at a auto parts plant.
Yeah.
She made the rubber gaskets that go around like the windows in cars and
Yeah.
General Motors cars specifically. And so she'd get me up like crack of dawn and take me to my
Yep.
babysitter's and drop me off there. And so I'd wake up long enough to go back to sleep at my babysitter's house. Uh,
Hmm.
and so that's the kind of guy I am. Like if I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm going back to sleep, uh, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've written a lot of stories about that sort of poverty.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
I'm blessed now to have a good
Hmm.
job, and my wife has a good job, and
Hmm.
we've done okay. Life is hard here in America right now,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I think it's good to have that perspective and to know that there are still a lot of people out there who
Yeah.
they got to make it on minimum wage
Hmm.
and
Yeah. I think like growing up, me and my brother talk about this all the time. Like we, I don't want to say poor because we had like the things we need, but it was like we didn't have a lot, but we didn't know about it because we were happy. Like we had our family. So it's like to society standards, yeah, we probably were poor, but we had like family, we had food, we had a community. So it's like that village that helped raise us. Because I'm pretty sure my mom couldn't have done it by herself, and she was working all the time. But like
yeah,
all, yeah,
that's when my mom and I first moved to North Carolina back
hmm,
in the early 80s. One of the reasons why she did that was so that we could be close to her family. And
hmm,
it's really that closeness
yeah,
to family that's still important to me.
absolutely,
And that family dynamic pops up
hmm,
in a lot of my writing and how important
yeah,
it is. My
it's very important.
the the theme of found family. I've noticed that more and more in the stories that I read. Uh,
Hmm.
Found family, not just biological family, is popping up a lot
Yeah,
in the culture these days. And I think
hmm,
that's pretty cool to see how important that is. And I not even consciously in my case, but in stories that I write,
hmm,
it comes up a lot how important, how impactful family
yeah,
can be in a positive and in a negative way, depending on the family member.
yeah,
Because we've all got that family member
yeah.
that's not necessarily a positive impact in life.
Yeah, we definitely have those. I definitely have a lot of family members that I can uh pull from, or try to make the best out of the situation.
For sure.
Hmm.
While I was on your website, I noticed, and this is something else that I encourage people to do.
Hmm.
You were good enough to include a link to a Medium article, which was a really good read. And there was a quote that I pulled from the article. You said, "I wish the interviewer asked you, I think, like, what's some advice
Hmm.
that you can pass on?" And you said, "I wish someone would have told me that I would fail but it is how you get back up. I was never
Yeah.
told that I would have to be resilient. Failing is part of the process to achieving long-term goals. Can you unpack that a little bit?
Yeah. I'll I can just start like when I started just going off of the book process. The my first edition, I want to say it was a failure, but it definitely gave me some trials and tribulations. I rushed it. I pretty much was just kind of winging it, just throw it out there, and I wasn't satisfied with it. But in my eyes, I fell hard. Like I fell hard. It hurt. I
Mhm.
didn't have the impact that I thought it would have. I ordered too much books. I still have books in the garage.
I read that quote about the wall of books in your garage. I had to laugh.
But it's it definitely taught me a valuable lesson. Like, okay, you have to first of all, you have to develop thick skin.
Mm.
You have to fail big so you can be prepared for what's to come. Like right now, I'm 3 books in, but I feel like I'm comfortable with what I learned. But like I said, you have to fail big so you can get used to rejection and all of that stuff. It's part of the process. And
Yes.
it's just going to make you a better person. And hopefully you will learn from your mistakes and move accordingly.
Yes. So you talked about the mistake of like ordering a massive amount of
Yeah.
books. Like I early on, like I would rush stuff out the door because I was like, I want to see this. I want to
Hmm.
see this book. I want to see it. I
Yep.
want to get it in my hands. I want to get it in front of people. And so you don't edit
Yeah.
as well as you might otherwise.
Cringe at it now.
You might not put the best cover on it that you can
Yep.
possibly do. Like, so I tell people the same thing. I'm like, you need to take your time and
Hmm.
put the best thing out that you can.
Yep.
Um, and uh, you know, and even having done that, you're still gonna make mistakes and you're
Yeah.
still gonna
Yeah.
fail.
So it's all a learning process. We have to, it's part of, you just have to go through that.
Yeah.
That's what any field, writing, the business world, whatever. You just have to learn from your mistakes.
I think that I see a lot of authors, a lot of new authors, like they've put their first book out and I don't know
Hmm.
what they expect. I guess they expect that it's going to be big out the gate,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, it didn't sell. Oh, I've
Hmm.
put my heart and soul into this. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
just going to give up." I'm like, "No, no, don't give up. Yes, your first book is not going to be like a New York
Yeah.
Times bestseller unless lightning in a bottle. I mean, yes, okay, it
Right.
happens sometimes, but that's magic.
Hmm.
That's like rolling Yahtzee the first time out. It sure, okay, it does happen,
Yeah.
but probably not for you, definitely not for me. You got to keep trying. You got to keep going.
Got to.
Uh,
Yeah.
and so now, and you're going to get those 1-star reviews, uh,
Hmm.
and that's going to hurt. Uh,
Yeah.
but you got to
Yo,
keep
you're
going.
lucky if you get a review nowadays.
Woo! Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Absolutely.
Yep.
So how many of these you went to you went to Big Lick. I wanted to call it Lizard Lick. You went to Big Lick. How many
Hmm.
of these Comic Cons have you done so far?
Throughout I started going to the Comic Cons in 2000, I want to say 21, just right after COVID. I think it was 22 or something like that. But I've done a fair share,
Okay.
especially in North Carolina. I did a lot in North Carolina. Did some in South Carolina, where I'm from. I went to the Blurred Con. That was a pretty big one out in DC, the DC Virginia area. So I think I did about a little over 10.
You said blurred like black nerd.
Yes.
Nice.
Yep.
So what are so I so tell me, this is my first year like really going to these things. Like I
Hmm.
have publisher friend that has taken me to cons here and there, but this is my first year sort of
Yeah.
going to a bunch by myself. What are some things you've learned over, the last, say, 3 or 4 years of going to these conventions that has made you more successful at doing these?
You have to be a great salesman. You have to communicate with strangers. You have to sell your work. You know, we're introverts, so you have to get out of that shell, walk from behind the booth, and explain your story.
Yep.
So I'm still learning how to do that, but it's been a journey. You definitely have to learn how to be a salesman and be a people's person.
It doesn't come naturally to all of us.
No,
Um,
now you may have some customers that just intrigued, or they may like your cover and they want to know about it. But that's rare that that happens. But if you want to make money at these events, you really have to just put yourself out there and tell people about your why should they buy your book and why is it different.
yeah, for sure. I have a friend who I've mentioned before on here, Mike Milwassel, and
Mhm.
he's a fantasy author, and he's written and published 2 books so far, and he's gone
Mhm.
started going to a lot of events, and his biggest piece of advice typically is exactly what you said. Like, you've got to get out from behind your table if
Mhm.
possible. Like, he'll stand in front of his table, and he has this big wizard hat that he wears,
Yeah.
and just talk to people. Like,
Yep.
don't you can't just sit there on your phone. I so many times,
Yeah.
even going as a fan, like going to like conventions as a fan, I
Hmm.
see people sitting there on their phones. Like,
Yeah.
you're not going to get any sales.
What are you here for?
Yeah. Looking at your phone. Get out there and talk to people and tell people about your book. Be passionate.
And I will also say develop a they say it's an elevator speech, but you definitely need to know your book front and back. Be able to explain in a quick, I would say 15 seconds what your book is about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now you have an advantage, and many authors have an advantage. You're focused on this series.
Hmm.
And so I've got like 5 or 6 different titles
Yeah.
across a spectrum. I've had to develop a quick and dirty, like, what do you, so I'm like, I open with, what do you like to read?
Oh, that's good.
So that I can go, okay, you like that? I've
Hmm.
got this. You like that? I've got
Yeah.
this. My favorite is if they say, oh, I like to read everything. So I say, well, okay, you're in luck. I've got everything. Um, But yeah,
Yeah.
that's another thing. Like, you'll fail,
Hmm.
you'll fall flat on your face because people will say like, "Oh, I don't like to read," or "I don't," or
Hmm.
or "I like to read romance." Well, I actually have
Yeah.
written romance, but I don't have anything physical to sell. So yeah,
Yeah.
you'll get no's, and you'll get
Yeah.
people will ignore you and walk on
Yeah.
by,
Yeah.
and that's tough.
There's been some times probably sold one book at a event that I've been for 6 hours,
Yep,
and that can be very discouraging.
yep.
But there's also some events where you may sell your all your inventory, but it's rare that you sell everything you come with. But there's definitely been more times where I have sold like one or two books, and it's like, what am I doing? But
When
yeah.
that happens, and that does happen, has happened to me more times than I care to admit, I have to tell myself, okay, well, that's 2 more books that were out there in the world than were out there
Yep.
yesterday, and I just have to
Yeah.
eat the loss. But as
Yeah.
far as money is concerned,
That's right.
uh, but yeah, I just have to like try and focus on the positive, uh,
Hmm.
and that's a challenge.
It
But
is.
this is a business as much
Yep.
as it is an art. And but that's the thing. Like, I think if you can develop those skills,
Hmm.
which you have through going to these conventions, like, I think it also helps develop your ability to sell these things online too, if you've got
Yeah.
a social media presence, because you can use that same elevator pitch
Yeah.
as you put it online,
Yeah.
because we love to complain. Writers love to complain.
Yeah.
And the biggest complaint I hear is I hate writing the cover copy.
Yeah.
And you can turn that ability to like come up with that elevator pitch into
Yeah.
writing your cover copy.
Just
So,
have to be consistent, especially with the online marketing. I've noticed some of the guys I've made friends with, they're more into the comic book writing,
huh?
but they're online. Danny Quick, Ace Blade, if you know him,
Oh, I know Ace Blade.
he's
Yeah,
on he's online every day with new
yep,
content. So
yep.
that's inspiring just to see how consistent he is with his online presence.
Yeah, he's all over TikTok. That's where I've seen him.
Yep. It's
And
on TikTok as well. Yep.
that's some good art in that book.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I haven't bought any of his books yet, but looks like some good stuff. Uh,
Yep. Some good stuff.
yeah, just and I think picking a social media like
Mm-hmm.
platform and making that your
Yeah.
focus is important because you can
Yeah.
spread yourself too thin, which I think I do sometimes. Um, but yeah, Damon,
Yes, sir.
I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tell my audience where they can find you.
You can find me at Damon Thompson Books.com is my website for future events that I have down the pipeline. Social media, I'm at DMT Books with a Z on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And yeah, hopefully I'll be at a local Comic Con nearby.
Awesome. Yeah, I saw you had a couple events on your website, which is also an important thing to include on your website is make sure you update your
Yes.
calendar uh,
Yes.
so that people know where they can find you.
Absolutely.
There's nothing I hate more than to go to an author's website, find they have a calendar, yay,
Yeah.
and then see that the last time it was updated was like 2023. Uh, so annoying.
So true.
All right. Well, it was good talking to you, sir.
It's great talking to you, Scott.